Hello, everybody. This is Anton, TopHap. I have Dennis over here.
Hi, everyone.
You have probably spoken to him or seen his face pop up in the lower right corner of the app, answering all of your questions and getting to all of your inquiries. So that's our CTO, Mr. Dennis. He'll be assisting me through this demo for you. So let's get started. First of all, thanks everybody for joining and taking the time. The purpose of this demo today is to show the true power of TopHap and really show you what this tool is all about. And for you to understand what this is, I'll give you a background on myself and how TopHap came to be. I spent 18 years in residential real estate. I'm a California licensed broker. 2 years into my career, I did my first flip, which sent me on a road path of focusing on the investment side of the industry. I got into building, land development, surrounded myself with other builder investor clients, and really focused on the analysis of properties and regions, really understanding upcoming hotspots, being able to identify homes and with the most upside potential, regions that are going to be growing over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years before there's any other real indications besides the economical ones. Studying buyer trends, seller trends, and really becoming an expert in my market from analytics standpoint. But even with that knowledge, I was very limited to the region that I cover, right? Which is the Danville, California, East Bay area. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, but it's here in the San Francisco region. And I started looking for tools. I started looking for tools that would help me understand markets and market characteristics, market dynamics in other parts of the state. And to my surprise, as I researched, there wasn't anything. There wasn't a tool that would help me understand a region like I do my own. And to really understand my own region as an agent, that took years. That really took about 5, 6 years before I gained enough confidence to really call myself a market expert of my own 10 square foot mile radius, right? You point me in any direction and have me go 15 miles this way or that way, I have to start my learning curve all over again. And really that took me by surprise, because as facilitators of a $1.6 trillion industry, as agents, as representatives of the most important transaction of our clients' life, most of the time the most expensive, which is the sale and the purchase of their home, we don't have any tools that helps us with our market intelligence, that helps us understand market characteristics. And the only way up until this point we would gain that market intelligence is by doing transactions. Like, think about this. You get your license, you do your first deal. You don't know what you're doing, right? You're kind of winging it. You're handling a person's purchase or sale, but you really have no training behind your activity, right? And as an industry such as big and important as real estate, why don't we have a platform that helps educate us as agents and makes us better as new agents or as seasoned agents? And that's how TopHap was born. TopHap stands for Top Homes and Properties. And what this allows you to do is become a market expert of any market in the state of California and soon to be nationwide within minutes, not years, but minutes of just sitting on the platform, having a cup of coffee, and having all of the answers that either you or your clients have available to you at your fingertips. So today, as a demonstration, what I want to do is analyze a city that you guys are probably not familiar with and really show you how to use the features to become an expert within it during this demo process. Then you guys can go ahead and apply that to any regions that you're working in, and we'll go from there. Now, please stay with us through the demo, because afterwards we're going to be talking about our 2021 roadmap, a lot of new exciting features to come, and also we're going to have a Q&A session. So let me get started really quick. Dennis, you want to add anything? You sure?
I'll be butting in as the webinar goes on.
Throwing me off key, right?
I'll try my best.
Yeah, that's what he's good at. So let's see. Let me go to map. Okay, so you guys, when you are all familiar with the tool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the listings, And I'm gonna turn off the listings and leave our heat map layers. So everything on the bottom, this is all of our secret sauce. This is our analytics. Everything here allows you to analyze a region, a street, or a property from different points of view. Value details, property details, area details, hazards, markets, and so on. So let's get down to it. The city we're going to be analyzing today is the city of Danville. This is our home city where we are. And I'm going to show you how to identify and understand everything and anything you need to know about the city of Danville. So what you're introduced here with is a heat map. And what is turned on is our TopHap estimate layer. The darker colors on our heat maps always represent a higher value of whatever layer that you're looking at. In this case, it's price points, TopHap estimates. So here we can clearly see the higher price point regions in the city of Danville marked with these darker hexagons. Okay, so as we hover over, you can see there's properties in here in the 3 millions, 2 millions, 4 millions. And if we go to this area right over here, everything is $1.5 million. Now, as you zoom in, the map will readjust based on the screens, what's showing up on the screen. And if we go down to the parcel level, the separation is by property lots. So let's zoom back out again. So now that we understand where the more expensive regions are within the city of Danville, so if you have a client moving in here and they want to buy a more expensive property, you know where to start researching. This is right over here. But higher price points don't necessarily define a more expensive region, which price per square foot would show you. So I just turned down the layer for price per square foot and look how different the map looks. All of a sudden we see this trend, and look at how much more expensive this area is compared to the rest of city of Danville. If we go back to values again, we can see the difference. And then if we go back to the TopHap estimate, you can see it again. So right off the bat, you now understand within the city where the highest priced homes are, and then the highest price per square foot homes are. Now, our price per square foot layer also does something else that's very unique. And it shows you where the value trends are going. If you think about a hot neighborhood, and if we go back in time and look at its origin of when people really started moving into it and creating demand, the values start flowing, right? So in this case, we can see this flow moving down south. So when you start using this layer to really predict where the values are flowing into, you can start advising your clients, investor clients, buyers, and sellers, where they could buy to not fight the demand that's going on in this region right over here, but get into somewhere where in the next year or two, the values are going to flow into this neighborhood anyway, like you see it here, and they'll take advantage of the higher prices. This is an exercise that I've done throughout the years, analyzing data and really figuring out if we want to buy in a community that is currently at $600 a foot, but we know that it's in the way of a value wave that's coming towards us from other neighborhoods of $800 a foot, and we're going to be in this community for the next 2 years doing a project, we can estimate that by the time we're ready to get out of that project, the values are going to flow and we're going to take advantage of the higher resale price points. So that's price per square foot, and that's value flow. Well, great. Let's say we've analyzed and we want to stick to this region right over here, right? Well, we need to understand a few more things about the area, right? Like your client says, you know what, this is where I want to live, but I want a flat lot. As we're looking from the top level, all of these look flat. Well, are they really? So what we have is a lot slope layer. Here, without even visiting the site, you can see which street, which block has lower slopes, which are more flat, which are here again in the lighter color representations, all the way up to the darker colors, 23% slope, 20% slope, 19, 21. And as you zoom out, again, you can see where the higher slopes are within the city of Danville. So all the flatlands are in the lighter colors, or the darker, higher slope properties are in the darker colors. And again, when you zoom into the parcel level, you see a visual representation of all of that by parcel. Well, what if your client said, you know, I want to know more about this particular lot. Can you tell me how much of it is usable? It's a 1 acre. Clearly, it's a 1 acre with 20%, 27% slope, but what's the topography? What is the visual characteristic of this lot? Well, we can show you that too without going to visiting the site. You hit the 3D elevation tool here on the right. The map tilts. And then you select the lot you want to take a look at, like I just did right over here. And now what you see in front of you is the 3D topography for that lot. You can circle, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. You can really take a look and see what the characteristic of this lot is without even having to go there. Talk about this with your client and see if there's even a need to go visit the site because of its characteristics. I mean, this is huge. This is so invaluable. You know, the things that I'm showing you right now, who knows this type of information without needing access to this tool? I'll tell you who. It's the guy or gal that's been doing business there for 5+ years. They know this. They know the landscape. They know the characteristics. They know everything about the properties in the neighborhoods, but most of us don't. Well, now you do. You have this type of information at your fingertips, where if you can get everything and anything you need to understand about a property or region, all of that here in one place. So, okay, fine. You know, now that you guys have analyzed topography, property values, price per square foot, what if your client said, you know what, I want to be in a higher elevation and I want to have a house with the view, but, and here's the elevation right over here. So they want a house with the view. So this is where all the homes with the views are because of the higher elevation. But they want a flat lot. Okay, well, what you can do is you have this drawing tool. You can go ahead and draw around the region that you want to analyze. Here are all the homes with the views. It's going to make a selection. And by the way, you can select and analyze any specific regions, street by street, or a custom region like this. And here we go. This is all of the properties with views in this area. And here we can see where properties with the lowest lot slopes are. Look at that. Here's one, here's one, here's one, 8, 8, 7, 8, 5, not too many. So this is the homes that you can go ahead and target for your visits. Now, what I don't have turned on right now, and we can just for sample, are the listings. You can see that within the selected area, all of a sudden, we have one home for sale that's on a 16 lot slope. If there was more would pop up. But for the sake of the demo, we're just turning the listings off. Now, let's take this a step further. Danville has, what's the most profitable neighborhood or part of Danville, right? As a city, it's all appreciated and grown at different rates. So what we can do here is we can dissect the city and its 2 zip codes and really understand the characteristics of both. So what I've done is I've gone into our compare mode, you guys. And here's what you can do here. You can analyze properties against other properties. You can analyze zip codes against other zip codes, cities to cities, neighborhoods to neighborhoods, or a combination of all of that. You can analyze a city to a zip code, to a neighborhood, to a property within it. For the sake of simplicity, what we'll do is analyze 2 different types of zip codes within one city, and I'm going to show you how to tell which one of them is a better choice for value growth. Okay, so here we go. What you're introduced to is a 20-year historic graph of property values for these 2 zip codes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look from the highest point in 2006 to the lowest point in February 12th, how much equity these zip codes lost during the crash. As you can see, one lost 33%, another one 34%. Fine. Now about how much have they rebound? Look at that. One grew 95%, another one grew 73%. So they were equal during the drop, but one of them rebounded more. And look, I know this to be true. One of these zip codes is located in a region of town that's closer to the freeway and has walkability, right? But I've done business here for a very long time. If any of you haven't, this is a way where you can spot this trend and then dig deeper to find out why that is. You can take a look and see what the price per square foot has done over the last 20 years. We can look at inventory over 20 years, sold counts, days on markets, mediums, price per square foot, medium turnover information. And you can analyze 20 years, 5 years. You can analyze 1 year, 3 months, and so on. So very granular type of analysis for a neighborhood, zip code, city, custom region, or even a specific address. Now, okay, let's go down and dig deeper to zip codes. Well, how do they differ in home values? Well, we can see 94506 is 12% higher home values than 94526. But it's lower 16% in median price per square foot. It's also appreciated less than 1% or 10% total. Rental prices are higher, and you can really do this type of granular analysis for property characteristics, lot sizes, if things have pool, stories, type of homes, regional information, hazards, market info. I mean, you can really get down to the finest details of what makes these two zip codes similar or different. Dennis?
Anton, show them how you can narrow down by living area.
Very
The
good.
estimates.
Very good, very good. Let's go back to estimates. So right now we're looking at price points of all ranges, right? Well, what if we're only interested in homes that are 3,000 square feet or higher? That's all we care about because this is what our clients are looking for. Okay, fine. Well, maybe 5,000 square feet or more. Oops. You can really customize and tailor this analysis to your specific wants and needs, and even property types. If you want to do houses, condos, multifamily, townhomes, and whatnot. So I urge you guys to spend a lot of time in this compare mode. There's a lot of value to be had here, a lot of things to learn. Just one more thing.
Did you show how you can compare neighborhoods?
Yeah, well, we did two zip codes. So, but okay, yeah, why don't we do a neighborhood? Let's do a neighborhood in Danville as well. So we have there's a neighborhood in the West Side Danville.
And that's the real beauty, is that you can compare really any kind of region, whether it's a neighborhood or a school zone or a city or a zip, and you can compare them all to each other.
Correct. So why don't we pick a neighborhood in Alamo, Stone Valley Oaks, neighboring city? Take a look at that, right? At one point, home values in Stone Valley Oaks, Alamo were higher, and now they're lower, right? Price per square foot in Stone Valley Oaks is also different than what it is right now on the west side. So again, two neighborhoods like we did, two zip codes, everything you really need to understand here. Okay, let's go back. Another important thing to really understand when you're looking at a region, especially right now, is how are things being affected by Corona, right? This is the hottest, most important topic right now. And everybody is talking about San Francisco and everybody leaving. Yes, some people are leaving out of state, but a lot of people are moving all over the Bay Area. And where are they going, right? We all have our own assumptions, right? But none of that information is really backed by anything until now, because we show you. So let me show you what our TopHap value appreciation layer does. Here we go. This is the Bay Area. And over the last 1 year, we can show you what home prices have done in this region. San Francisco is the lightest because it's lost 9%. Berkeley has appreciated 14. The city of Danville we were analyzing grew 4. Well, that's fine. That's a year. What about 6 months ago? How about a month ago? Look at the story that this tells you. Look at the questions that you can answer when your clients are asking, where should I move to? How is this area going to perform over the next 1 or 2 years? There's such a clear indication that everybody's going to these suburbs over here. Look at the heat here and what's happening with the home prices and then everything in between. San Francisco and South San Francisco have a clear decline. But once you get into the suburbs, Pacifica, Millbrae, Hillsborough, the story changes a little bit. Again, this is the type of information that's just not available anywhere else. And having these type of answers for your clients puts you in front of the list of any other agent that they're thinking about working with because you're in the know. Now, what about the Bay Area performance of, this is my favorite, sold versus list? If you have a client that's looking to make an offer, right? And we all know clients can be a little bit stubborn, and you're urging them to make an offer over asking price, but they're just not listening to you, right? Here we can see which areas demand that. As I hover over Berkeley, we can see that things in this region sell for 11% over asking, 9%, 8%, 10%, 11%. But when we go back to Danville, it's below 1, above 1, right? Well, fine, but how quickly should we make an offer? Is there an urgent need to make an offer today? Days on market layer shows you that. Everything here goes for about 21 days, 1 month, 7 days, 26 days, 1 month, 19 days. And then you come into this region's Alamo, Danville, it's also 1 month and then here it's 2 months and whatnot. So very helpful snapshot of the performance of a region and how hot it is in a given current climate. And we can also look and see what's happened. We can do it past 1 month, 6 months, 1 year here when we change the things here in the legend. Let's see. For your investor clients, we have rental estimates. How many times do you have somebody call you and say, what can this rent for? As an agent, there was really no other place for me to go to besides Craigslist to see what things are renting for in that market. Well, we have rental estimates. So here I click on the rental estimate and we can see what things rent for as far as dollar amounts. Again, highest prices are in the city. That's just because. And again, when you zoom into the parcel level, the map changes. So you can get a very granular understanding of the rental market, in this case, here in Piedmont, Montclair. You can see how hot everything here is. And if we zoom back out and you really want to understand the gross rental yield, this is based on what something is worth and can rent for. Well, here's the hottest markets to go into with the gross rental yield caps of 8%, 7%, and whatnot. Very cool stuff. Permit information is also something that I had a very hard time finding. We show you permit counts. So if you really want to understand the type of permit activity that's going on within a community, either now or has over a course of a number of years, you can make your selections here. So let's go back to Danville. And let's take a look at all permits in the last 2 years. Let's talk about demolition. Right? I want to see all the homes that were demoed because new construction properties are coming. Well, here they are. And if we zoom into the parcel level, we can see which properties actually have had a demo permit pulled in the last 2 years. You can change that to 1 year. What about a kitchen remodel? What about landscape? What about foundation work? You know, patios? All of this type of information is here for you. And if you enter into a specific property, like I just did here, shows me I have 2 permits. You can scroll down and look at the permit details. You can either do that here above, and it's in history. It takes you all the way down, permits. You can see the full permit history for any given property. And when you look on the property details, you can see this property historically has 10 permits, and here they all are. You can expand them. You can take a look how this property has been upkept. Or if you're farming for new construction homes, this is the best way to look up what's under construction, solicit the builder, and see if the home is being built for somebody or for spec. Let's see. Dennis, what am I missing?
Well, we have the Arv Calculator.
Aha. Okay. Thank you, sir. This is a really cool tool. This has become one of our favorites. And while I'm on this property detail page, let me show you everything that's here, because there's really an abundance of information. Never mind all the property details. We have the listing agent details. And by the way, next year, we're going to start introducing leads. And I've always been very upset with what Zillow has done within the industry and how they treated us as agents. They've taken our listings, they've monetized our information, and they've sold the leads to the highest bidder. That's just backwards, right? As a listing agent, this is what I worked for. This should be my lead. And we're going to be distributing leads to listing agents first. And if for some reason they don't want to work the leads, or they're not very good at responding to the leads, we need to make sure that the inquiry is serviced. Then we'll allow the lead to be sent to a local buyer's agent. If that buyer agent works within that area and specializes in that type of a home, price point, and size. So our algorithm will automatically distribute things to the best possible candidates to make it fair for everybody. Okay, so as we scroll down, you have full property details, interior, exterior, parking information, views. We have nearby property statistics. This is showing you what the price per square foot does based on the size of the house within this neighborhood. We show you the valuation history, in this case, going back to 5 years, and how this property compares to its neighborhood and its zip code. And this is the Arv Calculator. What if your client said, I'm looking at this property, and what happens when I remodel it? How much is my home going to be worth? Well, let's see. Right? Let's say it's not a superior remodel, which would be new construction, and it's not equal condition, but it's somewhere in between. Well, what if they wanted to add 500 square feet? As you can see, within this neighborhood, it doesn't do much. And it knows because most of the homes within that neighborhood are not that big. And if you wanted to also improve the age of this property and say it's 1 year old, boom, this is your maximum estimated home value for this property. If it was new construction, around 3,500 square feet within this neighborhood. Play around with this. This is super cool. And what this is doing, it's not a linear calculation. This is actually using our valuation model to establish a value for a home as such, as if it already existed in this particular neighborhood. So super cool. You have a rental evaluation, information, market conditions, full property records. One of the hardest things to pull up on the fly is APN and parcel information, which we have right over here, parcel R1 and APN, and also going back up, full ownership information is here for you. Transaction history and everything else I showed you earlier.
I'd love to show some of my favorite layers.
If I can. Please jump in.
So some of you may know me, as Anton said. I offer you my support, and again, from the technical point of view. And a lot of the things that I have found really interesting in TopHap is what I'd like to demonstrate right now. We have a lot of different layers, as Anton has showed you. And one of my favorites is earthquakes. So if we zoom out, for example, to the whole state of California and clear out our search, we can see hazards, and earthquake risks is one of the first ones. And we can see how the fault lines go, and we can see the earthquake hazards in different areas. And you can see that not everything is the same, even in a highly localized area like the Bay Area. We can also see other interesting facts. For example, the Bay Area has historical microclimates. So we have different temperatures very close to one another. And we can see here, we can see where it's cooler or hotter during the winter, as it is right now in the legend, or we can switch it to summer mode. So we can see the relative heat and cooling of the different areas, and it averages out through the day. So we can see, for example, during the summer, San Francisco on average, daytime, nighttime, it's about 57 degrees. And in Danville, it's 72. So as you can see, quite a bit of difference. And this is highly micro-territorial. Same thing about rainfall and lots of these other very interesting layers that you can scroll here as well. As we get into regions, another one of my favorite things to do is the easiest way to spot, for example, an area such as a subdivision is to look at the age of homes, and that's in our property category. So for example, let's say we zoom in here. And what you can see is you can see this uniformity. You can see all of these homes are built 18 years ago. So this is one subdivision. You can see this here, they're all built 9 years ago. So you can really see that they are completely different neighborhoods. And when you're doing comp analysis.
Correct. I was just going to say, why is this important, Dennis?
Because when you're doing comp analysis, if you have a comp, let's say in this neighborhood, but a property sale, your subject property is in this one, but you can't really use that comp without quite a bit of an adjustment.
So turn the listings on. Let's layer listings over it and show them what that really looks like. And if we go property sold, well, here we are, right? There's a lot of listings within a quarter-mile radius, right? Usually appraisers go out to half a mile, but we can clearly see if our subject property is in the area where Dennis has highlighted. These are the comparables that matter, not the homes to the right or the homes to the left or at the bottom. If we are using those properties out of those neighboring neighborhoods, which are not statistically similar, we need to understand how to adjust properly for value for whatever differences are. In this case, it's age.
And the other side effect of these subdivisions is your upside potential. So a lot of these have HOAs, and we can see HOA as well.
It's in region.
Right there in property. So we can see these are subdivisions, yes, and they're HOA fees. But as you notice when you're looking at the age layer, this area in the bottom doesn't have that. So, and historically, homes within an HOA, you can't really remodel that much. It's very difficult to do things like additions and et cetera, right? So if you have an investor client or you are an investor yourself, you know that going inside of a subdivided community such as these that are all built at the same time and they're all really cookie cutters that have a few different types of homes inside of it, it's going to be very difficult to do anything truly extravagant.
Perfect. Thanks, Dennis. So, I mean, you guys, I haven't spent too much time on the listing module or the rental module. You guys are all familiar with this. You can search for homes. You can search for homes statewide, either for sale or for rent. But what makes what our DNA is, what TopHap is these analytics, giving you everything you need to possibly know about a region all in one place, all available right at your fingertips.
And I think another interesting tip that I'd like to mention regarding listings. So if you are looking at listings and you expand this sidebar, you will see that we're automatically showing you the last 3 months of sold. But let's say you're actually interested in every single property that is here. And maybe you want to get this information to do further analysis, et cetera. Well, you can change sold and last to be anytime. And what this does, as you can see, it pulls up every single property for you and all of its property information. So now what you can do is you can easily filter the whole state of California in really seconds. Let's say you're looking at price points between 2 and 3 million. of every single property that exists, whether it's on market or off. And you can see the count here is updating live. There's 22,000 homes that are current estimate between 2 and 3 million.
Now, let's end with this. Zoom back into this neighborhood, because there's one thing that we show you that no other site does, and those are off-market sales. So, and the way you can tell is, go back into the neighborhood where we're in. And the way you can tell off-market sales, they're in gray. So do you see the gray? There's red, which are sold, and then gray are sold off-market. So these are properties that never hit the MLS and were privately transferred. Important to understand if there's low cell count within an area, but you know homes are moving and they're moving off-market, and you want to understand what they moved for, this shows you that right there in front of you. And
as we're going, we're remembering a lot of interesting other features that we wanted to show you, such as when we're analyzing regions. Very interesting map is when we're looking at walkability.
And also noise, show them noise, turn the listings off, yeah.
So you can see that it's really this west side of the freeway that is highly walkable. Neighborhoods on the other side of the freeway are not so much.
Not so much.
And again, this granularity is available at any Zoom level, right? And any region and any city. Also, what's interesting is things like noise data. So we've modeled, with the help of the Department of Transportation, decibel levels around all major streets, freeways, et cetera. And you can really get a sense of this as you zoom into the parcel levels. You can see which parcels have high levels of noise, and you can see there are the darker ones. And as you mouse over, it actually shows you the decimals that is estimated around the streets. But it's also interesting around airports, because if you're far away from the airport, you might think of noise level. But we've also modeled the landing and takeoff paths of airplanes, so you can see these cones right here. So properties far away from the airport, that maybe there's no airplanes flying over when you're actually visiting the property, but you can see how they're actually affected by the airplane noise levels half a mile downstream.
Yep. And all of these layers that you guys see at the bottom, every one of these data points is going into our own home valuation model, which is the TopHap estimate. So our machine learning model understands that if you're in the way of a flight path or right next to a freeway, and there is an associated decibel level assigned to that parcel, it dings the property's value accordingly versus the one that's a couple of blocks away and it's not. So,
and I also wanted to mention, you saw us click around quite a bit, use a lot of the different TopHap features. At first sight, it takes a few minutes to get used to, but once you become versed, it's a very, very quick tool for you to use. And we spent a lot of energy to actually make all of this data accessible to you, trying to be as lightning fast as we can. And if you want to learn in detail how to use any of these features that we talked about, go to this help question mark here, and you can go to TopHap Academy. And TopHap Academy actually walks in detail through how to use any of these features that we discussed today. And that's also where you will find me, which is living in the chat section. So if you ever have any questions that you want to ask that are live, whether it's to me or Anton or to any of our team members, hit this chat button and you can talk to us live, and we're very good about responding immediately.
Great, thanks, Dennis. So before I unmute everybody for a live Q&A, I want to talk to you about our 2021 roadmap. So what's coming is a saving feature. You can save your searches, a sharing feature where you can save your property searches, regional searches, analytics searches with your clients. PDF printable and shareable report, and a branded portal. This is where you can invite your team, your clients, and collaborate in your analysis. All of these features will be live within the next 30 to 45 days. We're in the finishing stages of them. We have a new property detail page that's coming. That's going to be very, very easily understood and very consumable. And it's going to be very compartmentalized, where you'll have actual analytical insights pulled out that are relevant to the property or the city or the zip, and shown right there in front of you. So all you have to do is type in an address and get a lot of relevant information about statistics, analytics about that specific home or region. And then you can go to the map and dig a little bit further. So very excited about that. We have new filters coming, which we're here in the bottom or in this section. This is where you actually be able to filter by any of these analytical points. It's going to be super cool. We have land estimates that are coming with the release of our AVM 3.0. And most importantly, our national expansion. We start on our efforts in January. So you will soon, before the end of the year, be able to do this type of, before the end of next year, more likely in the second or third quarter, be able to do this type of analysis anywhere in the state. You have an uncle moving to Texas, tell him everything he needs to know. Are you moving to Florida? Don't move there blindly. You have full analytics nationwide as we work on our MLS expansions as well. And the most exciting thing is our app, you guys. I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw the demo of what we're building. You'll be able to walk up to any property, whether it's commercial or residential, point at it with your phone, and automatically you will have full property details pop up right in front of you. All of the property's analytics, ownership information, upside potential, everything without even typing in an address. And if you want to dig further, you click on that property, takes you to a property detail page on TopHap. And as you're walking through the neighborhood, the app will understand what neighborhood you're in and give you all of the neighborhood statistics. So when you give this out to your clients and they're driving around and exploring the region, no more typing anything in. They just have to have their phone out. It knows what neighborhood you're in. You point at any property, it's augmented reality. It pulls up a property card associated with that building, and it just makes everything extremely easy to use. Very, very cool stuff. Yes?
Yeah, so now it's time for questions and answers. And since we're doing a Zoom, if whoever would like to speak, just go ahead and raise your hand and we will unmute you.
Maybe we can just unmute everybody.
I think we have to do it one at a time.
Got it. Maybe tell everybody how to raise their hand.
Yeah, in Zoom, there is a little, I think, hand button. It's right at the bottom. And there we have some questions actually that have come in through the chat as we were doing the webinar. So one of them is, what plan is all of this on that we were demonstrating? So yes, that is one thing that we didn't actually touch on yet. And I think we should switch to on the pricing page.
So the plan that we were demonstrating on is the expert plan. 80% of all the features that you see here are in the pro plan, and that is really targeted towards the real estate agent, real estate broker plan. If you want to get into rental analysis and any other type of investment features, you are going to fall into the expert plan. And if you go to the property pricing page, there's a very clear explanation of what's included in each plan.
And then another question was, when we were showing the value appreciation layer, can you do projections for the future? So we are actually working on having estimates. Right now, we do have 1 year and 2 year forecast, and we are constantly training the model and making that more accurate. So yes, we do have future projections that you can analyze in the same way.
Okay, so let me go back to the first one. And I raised my hand.
Somebody raised their hand, and well, actually,
wow, okay. So let's talk to Garrett. So Garrett, first in line.
Okay.
Garrett, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Thanks for
awesome. Well, thank you guys for this presentation. This is just incredible. I was on the beta version, and I mean, you guys just keep adding stuff, and it's amazing. I was just curious about the app that you mentioned. Is that going to be an additional cost?
No.
For the plan? Okay.
No, all the features that we're going to be adding to the tool, including the things we didn't forget, is commercial data and commercial permits, will just beef up the existing plans. An app will be free.
Awesome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, Garrett, thanks, man.
Thanks for your support, Garrett.
Thank you.
So we have Ro next. Ro,
Hi,
how you
Ro.
doing?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh man.
Welcome to the Anton and Dennis show. You're
Yeah.
live and on the air.
One thing I want to say is, guys, you've created something legendary. This is just incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I've never experienced anything like it. So congratulations to both of you for all your hard work. I'm sure you've been doing this for a very long time now. This is an incredible resource, man. I definitely want to dive in and learn how to use the platform a little bit better. And I feel like it's a huge value add, not only to us as agents, but to anyone that we're potentially going to be working with. So I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. That means a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. I'm sure this thing is going to take off to the moon. So congratulations.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and we have now
Girish?
Girish. We've unmuted you.
Okay. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Yeah, I've been following you guys on the beta version. This is something I always visualize to have to help my clients understand the decision-making process. Excellent tool. Question I have is, as an agent, many times I have to produce a report, right? It could be a PDF file or printed. So doesn't matter whether it's for an investment client or somebody wants to purchase to live. Do you have tools where, based on whatever I want to present to them, that I can quickly generate a report and email it to them?
We will very soon. It's going to be a very customizable report that you can choose to include which of the analytics data points you want within it. So bear with us. That's coming very, very soon. We're going to have a printable report within the next 30 days and a customizable report probably within a month or two after that.
And you've heard us talk about features coming soon. Now, the report is actually the
priority,
the highest priority, and this is the feature that's coming actually next, the next major feature. And it's going to be, as Anton said, printable as PDF, and is also shareable as interactive as well. So your customers can have that other aspect to that as well.
Yeah, that would be an awesome tool, because I can't always go through the tool to explain to them live. If I could send it over to them, and then follow up with a conversation, that would make my job very easy.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. We agree 100%. Thank you, Girish.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, next we have Renee. You're unmuted.
Renee, are you with us? Okay, Renee, we can come back to you. Just raise your hand again.
Okay.
What about Lana?
Lana, we are unmuting you.
Hello, Lana.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for this talk. It was very informative, and I'm also impressed with your tool. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a homeowner and a rental property investor. And I wonder if you are planning to add something not for agents, but for people. For example, when I was choosing rental property to buy in Denver, I didn't know the area. And I didn't know any agents there, and I just looked manually on Zillow and Redfin at estimated home prices and sold prices. And I looked for agents who constantly made a great deal, who could buy a house at a price that was lower than estimated price. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I thought it would be awesome I actually was thinking about scraping websites myself, and this is how I got your ad and found out about your tool. But are you thinking about adding something for regular people to look for agents, to see what kind, to see the list of agents who work in a specific area and who make great deals, who are great at selling, who are great at buying? Are you interested in doing that?
Yes, of course. So as we begin working on our lead generation model, which will be next year as well, we want to align buyers with agents that are proper for their specific use, like you just said. If you have a client that's selling or buying $1 million house versus a $3 million house, that's a different type of agent. And not because one is luxury, it's because they focus on different markets, different price points. If you have an agent that is really good at finding projects or buying homes under market value because you want to get a good rental, we can identify those people as well through our own analytics and analysis of agents' activity. So it's coming next year.
This is awesome. Can I ask more questions?
Yeah.
I was looking for a layer that shows property tax from like in different areas. Do you have this?
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to the investment category, there's taxes.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
So, and in the taxes category, you really have everything from value improvements to land to total to build amounts. And again, that works like any other layer we have for every single property.
Okay, awesome. Love it. Thank you. Last question. Well, I have tons more, but I'll just ask one more. Also, usually when I'm looking to buy a rental property, I tend to Google insurance prices, like to get an understanding where insurance will be more expensive and where it will be less expensive. Do you have something like this?
That we don't.
Yeah, we don't have a source for insurance yet, but we are investigating it. It's definitely a very interesting data layer, especially things like fire
insurance.
Yeah, fire insurance, and flooding, et cetera. So that's, it is really our goal to bring in all types of data, whether it's directly related to real estate or auxiliary to help that actually affects real estate, all in this one place. So again, everybody on the webinar, if you do have great ideas for us on which type of data to bring in, please let us know. We're always bringing new data.
What's the best way to reach you? I have millions of ideas. I'm so tired of doing this manually. I'm really happy that you're building a tool that allows to do this.
So chat with us in this field. Leave your name and email address, and we can communicate. We can do a call. We can communicate through email. Or through the platform.
Yeah, or live. Chat with us it's very instant. So we can have long conversations, talk about all different aspects.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, Renee,
you're up next.
You're next. I think you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I'm very, very impressed with this tool. I actually come from a technology company where we dealt with a lot of APIs and was reselling those to other corporations and business entities. So for me, I'm trying to turn that hat off, but I could see where you have a huge amount of potential with other clients with a lot of these opportunities that you have in this data. I'm a new agent, and for me, part of my process also been getting started. So I would love to know how to utilize the tool as a new agent. And obviously I have clients that are interested in certain areas and whatnot, but what kind of tool, we can table this, but I'd be interested in as a new agent feature on how we can get started. But I was working for a company called Hover, and it's a roofing company. And what they were doing was taking 3D modeling of roofs, but then they were selling the data to, developers, solar companies, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess my question from just interest is, how, besides real estate agents, are you looking to utilize this information and sell it to other entities like the cities, insurance companies, appraisers, developers, architects, et cetera, or solar companies? So I was just kind of curious whether you have that avenue as well.
Yes. So, if you really think about real estate analytics and who's it for, right? it's for everybody. It's for every industry that deals with real estate property. For us, the decision to target agents first, initially, investors, appraisers, after, is because these are the individuals that facilitate these type of transactions on a daily basis, right? Like if we want to improve the consumer experience, we need to improve their representatives' experience first, because each consumer is dealing with a representative like an agent, and we're the ones that need to be empowered with this type of information to make us better. Because right now, most of the consumers look at us as somebody that just puts a contract together, right? These consumers now,
Absolutely.
they're Zillow warriors. They think they have everything they need to know about everything and anything on Zillow, but they really don't. There's so much to properties and regions characteristics, right? Like what affects a region's desirability in one way or another. We as seasoned agents know this, right? And
Yeah.
and if we're good at our jobs, if we strive to be better, we can do such great value for our clients. And this will kind of flow into my recommendation for you as a new agent. This tool is priceless for a new agent because what you have in front of you is years upon years upon years of market intelligence. What these colors show you street by street is what seasoned agents already know within your region. So you can hop in and type in an address and look at that neighborhood and know everything there is to know about it just by scrolling through the layers.
Absolutely. And what was frustrating for me, like, for example, my nephew is moving to Reno, and he spends his time on realtor.com and Zillow and wants to know why there's differentiations in terms of pricing and all that kind of stuff. And then people are clicking buttons and all of a sudden they've got, different kinds of agents calling them, and they get very confused as to whether or not that's an agent trying to get your business or if that's the listing agent. So a lot of aspects about that. But what I've done for him is I've actually taken whatever analytics I can from the MLS when I have that area, but otherwise I'm piecing together things from a realtor and Zillow, and it's not as comprehensive as I would like in presenting a picture of the opportunities of where he should buy. So yeah, I'm extremely, as a new agent, this is absolutely fascinating. And then I would, of course, want to know how I could utilize this tool in doing either a demonstration or a sub-license of my clients being able to go in here and do it themselves, kind of explore around. So just kind of, my brain is going too much, but I'll kind of maybe table them and get questions. But I think it's absolutely fascinating product, and I'm very excited for you guys.
Thank you. And I'll give you a success story that I just heard within the last week. We had a new agent, just got licensed 2 months ago, signed up for TopHap right away, and already closed her first deal because she was able to win the confidence of her potential buyer of knowing what she needed to understand about the neighborhood that they were looking in. That's just gold. I remember how difficult it was for me to be a new agent and battle this "you're new" stigma. You don't really know anything. Well, now you do. You know everything there is to know. So yeah,
sign me up.
Use the tool.
And one point I want to touch on that you talked about is we're actually working, when we're talking about sharing and collaboration features, we're going to enable you to actually sponsor your clients' access to the platform.
Right. Okay, good.
So that's going to be the feature where your data-minded customers can access.
Right.
Okay. And Renee, feel free to reach out to us again at any time, like we said earlier, and if
absolutely
happy to talk things in detail.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you.
Alex, you're up next. Let us know if you can hear us, or we can hear you. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, great. Hey, I think you guys might know my brother Remy.
Oh yeah, of course. I thought the last name looked familiar.
Yeah. So first of all, amazing product, you guys. This is some stuff that we've been wishing we had access to for years. There's just a serious drought for this kind of data, and also the way that you've presented it as well really is kind of revolutionary. But I wanted to ask you just about one particular thing, which has been obviously an issue for years. There, more and more, the vast majority of buyers are coming from the internet, and they're looking at Zillow's estimates and the Redfin estimate and all that. And so there's obviously, even though we in the industry know that they're wildly off, frequently wildly off, buyers look at them as being important. And so obviously just the estimate in general, just trying to do an estimate on a property algorithmically is a big challenge. And I think, Zillow did a contest. I don't really know what the results were of that, but I know it's always been it's been an ongoing battle to try to develop some way to really do a good estimate without needing a significant adjustment. And I'm just wondering, as far as the estimate tool that you guys have developed, is it, what can you tell me about how it works or what your guys' approach has been to try to make, a usable estimate tool?
That's a great question. It's actually something we meant to cover during the webinar itself. So you're absolutely right. Creating a machine learning model to predict the actual values of properties, right? It's definitely quite a challenge. This is the real foundation of TopHap. This is the first thing that we started working on. And as you see, we spend most of our time in this value analytics and price per square foot analytics. So we're trying to rely on the estimates to be as accurate as possible. When Zillow and other companies talk about their estimates, they say we're very accurate. They say we're within 2.5%. We're at a 2.5% like median error. When they say this, what they mean is for on-market properties. So for on-market properties, meaning you as an agent have already established a list price. And from that list price, they're now predicting what this property is going to sell for. And that's why when you look at charts and any kind of histories on any of those platforms, you see these big jumps, right? Because they're like, oh, now we have a new data point. An agent told us once the property is listed. Yeah, once the property is listed. What we decided to do from the beginning, and this is really one of the biggest differences in our model, is that the data for on-market properties is not part of the machine learning model, right? So the estimates are not being adjusted when properties are listed. And we are constantly working on our model, making it better, identifying maybe problem areas and fixing them. So this is, an ongoing experience, but I can tell you that the model that was going to be released in early January, it is at a 2.3% median error for off-market properties. So basically not even knowing what the list price is.
And the most important thing of how we got there is introducing, I call them auxiliary data sets that point out neighborhood and regional characteristics. Things like noise pollution, right? Weather, days on market, list versus sold, not just price points that other valuation models are using, but actual characteristics of areas that are affected. Lot slope, lot usability, distance from the house to the freeway to the major cities. So truly real life things that affect a home's or neighborhood's desirability is fed into our machine learning model. We've introduced Starbucks locations and our machine model improved almost 1%. Starbucks location, there's a story behind it, right? Now we're ingesting all the other commercial data like Safeway, gyms, Macy's or Nordstrom's, and all of that information is going to be correlating to see how property values are affected in one of those type of businesses within an area. And of course, this is changing every day. But one of the things about the estimates, you can see that we are actually leading with the estimates right on the property cards, right? It's right here. You don't have to dig for it, right? Right as you're looking at a property, you can see this one here. That's on the right at the top. Sold price 877. TopHap estimate 874, right? And again, this estimate was calculated, and the way you can see is if you mouse over, you can see this was calculated on November 20th. But show them the valuation accuracy layer, because that's the important part.
But one thing I want to bring your attention to first is that if you want a live estimate, when you look at the ARV calculator, you can see that when the estimates were calculated on the platform, it was at 874, estimate created on 11/19/2020. But every single time you bring up the property page, it actually runs this property through the machine learning model, and it reacts to the changing conditions in the market that were between when the estimate was last calculated. And you can see between now and then, this property's estimate has actually increased a little bit. So every single, if you will, day that you would visit a property, you will see that this ARV calculator estimate is changing because it is taking all the latest market activity into account.
And what we're doing is introducing live estimates with our AVM 3.0. So you don't have to go and dig this far very soon. Instead of estimates being updated on a monthly basis, they'll be updated on a daily basis.
And the other thing is we have our accuracy layer. We have TopHap estimate accuracy layer and TopHap rental estimate accuracy layer. Estimate accuracy is not the same everywhere. So we show you the same data that we use for testing our estimates and actually predicting what the accuracy is, which is looking and back testing all the past sold properties. What was the estimate? What was it sold for? And what is the ranges? And you can see different areas have different characteristics. Like in Oakland, you can see it's one of the lowest accuracies that we have, which is at 92%. If you go to, for example, Pacifica, you can see we're at 98%, right? So different territories and different regions have different accuracies. And we show that to you right here. And if you actually want to zoom in and actually look at the properties on the parcel level, you can see the historical sales that it's picking up and that it's actually testing our estimates against. You can see, of course, it's not everything, but it is all the ones that did sell in the last 20 years that we do show you here on this estimate accuracy layer.
Can I ask you one follow-up question on that?
Yep.
So like you identified Oakland as an area that it doesn't have very good accuracy on the estimate right now.
Well, it's
and
still good.
I imagine that thing would be true. Well, it's more challenging to estimate probably, right? I imagine that same thing is probably true. Zillow's accuracy on this estimate is probably lower in Oakland than some areas as well, right? But I'm just curious, is your approach that you would monitor those accuracy maps and actually try to make improvements in those areas to focus on the areas where the accuracy is low to get a better number?
When we started, we were at 10%, and that was 2 years ago. So we're consistently improving. Absolutely.
And,
Gotcha.
and with the AVM 3.0, what we've done is we've actually with the AVM 2.0, we got really great accuracy for all the, if you will, average normal properties. But we had some issues with the higher price listings, anything kind of above, I would say about $5 million. And now with AVM 3.0, we're actually, we addressed that quite a bit. It is extremely accurate. Properties that are selling for 24 million are being predicted to be valued at 24 million as an example. And that's very hard to do when you reach such a high scale. So the machine learning model has become very, very robust and is going to keep improving. We're going to add a feature soon where you can thumbs up, thumbs down the estimate, just to, again, help us with this to train, because we are making our estimates not like Zillow or other companies where you tell them the list price and then they tell you the estimate. We're trying to make this so that this helps you establish the list price.
Right.
So
That's
this
awesome.
step before.
Thanks so much for your thorough answer, guys.
No problem. It's one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I'd love to talk to you more about it soon offline. Let's chat soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, now we have Dean.
So are you calling on me? It's Deanne.
Oh, Deanne, I'm so sorry.
No, I just want to make sure you had the right person. How are you?
Everybody always says my name wrong.
Yeah,
Well.
no worries at all. Hey, I just want to commend you guys. I signed up with your beta test a while ago. I heard through another agent up in the San Francisco area about you, and he said it's the best. Your program is the best ever. So I signed up. I was a little, I'm not great at some of these programs, so it was a lot to learn. So having all of this that you guys did for us today is pretty awesome. So thank you. And then the questions I had, I think Alex kind of just touched on. I have a listing appointment that I'm headed to next week, and I want to be able to use this and feel really comfortable. So I guess my first question is it still in the beta test mode? And I don't know, I guess I asked that only because I want to make sure that when I do this presentation that I'm spot on, because they want to list their house and get maximum dollars to move to either Utah or Georgia. So that was my first question. I'll let you touch on that first.
Yeah, so that's a conversation we were having this morning. So we did a soft launch 3 months ago. Before that, we were in public beta for a year. And it's time we take the beta logo off our site, and that's going to happen over the next couple of days. So we came out of beta 3 months ago, but we just never told anybody.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just in case there were any more issues, but now,
Okay.
now we're officially non-beta.
Great. So, and then when I do this listing presentation, I know that you guys were just talking about, coming up with a valuation for a particular home, to go on the market in the next, 2 weeks to a month. It would be easy to present. I mean, it would just have to be presented on a computer. I can't print anything at this point, it sounds like.
Correct. So what I would do is open up the laptop and explore the area and the home that they're listing together. And you probably know of why something should be worth you know, because maybe the property size is different or the street is less desirable. You can visually represent any of those points through any of these layers.
Okay.
And that's the biggest feedback that we've gotten with our agents on the listing presentations, because it allows them to visualize what they already know in color. So there's no debate. There's no more discussions or questions. If you tell them this street is less desirable, you can show them that the TopHap estimate will reflect that. Or if the street is loud, the noise decimals will show you that, right? Or whatever other reasons, which are all more likely than in here.
So one other thing I want to mention is actually the TopHap works really well on a mobile phone. It looks a little bit different, but it has all the same controls and all the same functionalities. And what you can do is if you actually add it to home screen by pressing the export and go add to home screen in both Android and iOS, it becomes like an app for you. All right, so you can see there's an icon right here that you can just press, and TopHap is now running on your phone. So I would definitely urge everyone to try that mode as well.
No, yeah, that's great. Okay, so my next question, let's say that I want to show this to them prior to. I know I tried this with another client. I was on your beta test a month or so ago. And I tried to send them the link that I had created with all of the, you know, data that I had captured. When I sent it to them, it was making them sign up. They couldn't just open it and look at it. Now, has that changed? Meaning, like, if I send it to someone that doesn't have an account or is a client, can they open it and see what I've created for them?
So right now, no, but we are working on enabling this. And as we mentioned, what will happen is if you, you'll be able to share your access with your customers, right? And
okay, so that's the only way to do it. So I could just give them my login and they can look at it that way. That was my question. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you again. This
Thank you,
is.
Cindy.
Oh, I have one more question. My husband had a question. If, let's say I signed up for the pro, if I wanted to change midstream, let's say in 2 months, I decided I want to go to, what is the other one? The expert?
Expert.
The expert. How would that work?
Just press the button and all the financial complications will be handled automatically. It'll be prorated.
Okay, perfect. Proration. All right, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, and we have Cindy.
Cindy, you're live.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. First of all, congratulations. This is awesome. I am a newly licensed agent in the Danville area. I live in Danville. And I have been working for the last few years with one of the top producers in this area. So a very accomplished real estate agent. So trying to learn as much as I can from her as a new agent myself. I have 2 questions for you. She wasn't able to join today. So first question is, will this recording be available? The tutorial that Anton you gave, is this going to be available for her to view on her own at a later date?
Yes, we will send everybody a link to the YouTube recording of the video after this.
Great. Okay. And then my second question is, I'm interested in the lead generation that you will be working on next year. So Zillow's model, as you know, is more of a pay to play model. Mm-hmm. So in order for agents to rise to the top, to be, on the first page of agents in the area seen as experts, you really are paying into that service. What is your model for lead generation? I hope it's more on the analytics side to show, how many agent sales based on expertise, based on, like you said, who are the top agents in the different dollar, sales groupings. So if you could answer that, that'd be great.
That's exactly true. It will be based on the analytics, but at the same time, we're making this model so that it does also take into account new agents, right? Because we don't want to make it impossible for newly licensed agents to penetrate this. So it's going to be a combination, and it's not going to be pay to play. You're absolutely right. And one of the most important factors actually that is going to be the response times, because that's one of the things we're going to be measuring, which is how fast the leads actually get responses.
Yeah, and the
Right.
reviews of the buyer and seller when the referral is complete and this transaction is complete, because we want to make sure that the people are also getting the highest value, which also helps with the future relationship of that agent and them as well.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. Those are my
Thank you.
questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye. So you guys, I think that concludes our webinar. What we're going to be doing is having a standing webinar moving forward every Friday. It's going to be an introductory webinar like we just did. And starting next year, every Wednesday, we're going to be doing a use case webinar, educating on how to do one specific tasks on the platform. So thank you everybody for joining. Really appreciate everybody's feedback and support. And we're looking to just empower you guys with so many more cool features and abilities with this tool.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.